Have you ever watched your own home get targeted by rules you never agreed to? What if the HOA president decided your paid-off house actually belonged to her spoiled son? And how far would a smiling community leader go when she thought she could just forge papers and steal it all? It started with one phone call on a picture-perfect Tuesday in Willow Creek Estates, the kind of suburban slice of America where every lawn is exactly 4 inches tall, and the biggest drama is usually whose mailbox is the wrong shade of beige. I picked up mid-coffee, thinking it was the usual telemarketer. Mr. Reynolds. The voice on the other end was clipped, icy, all business. This is Attorney Hargrove. I represent Mrs. Linda Whitaker, president of the Willow Creek HOA. She's formally demanding you vacate 142 Maple Grove Lane within 30 days. Her son Derek is getting married, and the family needs your corner lot for their new home. I nearly dropped the mug. Vacate? My house? The one I'd paid off after 30 years of 9-to-5 grind? The one with the big oak tree my late wife planted? You've got the wrong address, I said, voice steady even as my stomach flipped. No, Mr. Reynolds, he snapped back. Mrs. Whitaker's historical covenant claim supersedes your deed. We're prepared to pursue full legal action. 30 days. Good day. Click. Dial tone. Historical covenant? The only history here was Linda Whitaker deciding the rules applied to everyone except her. I stood there frozen until I heard tires crunching gravel outside. A shiny black SUV I'd never seen pulled straight up my driveway like it owned the place. Out stepped Linda herself, blonde helmet hair, pink velour tracksuit that screamed, "I brunch with the mayor," clipboard in one manicured hand, that fake sweet smile plastered on. Right behind her, Derek, all arrogant jaw and designer sunglasses, plus 2 guys in cheap suits already measuring my front yard like appraisers at a foreclosure. And there, hammered into my perfect grass right at the curb, a brand new glossy sign. Future home of Derek and family, coming soon. My blood hit boiling point. Linda, I called, walking out fast but calm. What the hell do you think you're doing on my property? She turned that smile up to 11, the one that never touched her eyes. Oh, Jack, bless your heart. Just a friendly preliminary survey. Derek needs space for the grandkids, you know? We'll make it so much easier if you cooperate. Derek smirked and pointed at my oak tree. That old thing can go. Perfect spot for the infinity pool. One of the suits was already walking toward my front door like he lived there. I planted myself on the porch steps, arms crossed. You're trespassing. All of you. Get off my land. Linda chuckled that grating little laugh. Jack, don't be dramatic. The HOA board voted last week. Your lot's been annexed for community benefit. Rules are rules. I pulled out my phone, hit record, and held it up so the red light was obvious. Smile for the camera, Linda. This is evidence. 30 seconds before I call the sheriff and every local news station. Her smile twitched. Derek muttered something about senile old coot. The suits froze. She finally waved them back. Fine, we'll give you a week to come to your senses. But the sign stays. They peeled out, leaving tire marks and that hateful sign behind. That night my phone buzzed. An unknown number. For words. You won't win, old man. I saved the screenshot and smiled in the dark. They thought fear would break me. Just sharpen me. Next morning I drove straight to the county recorder's office. The clerk, a no-nonsense woman named Rosa, pulled the file after I filled out the forms. Deed clear as crystal. 142 Maple Grove Lane, solely mine. Never part of any HOA. Rosa leaned in. Funny thing. Last week a lady matching Linda's description came in asking how to reassign a property if the owner was incapable. I told her this isn't some banana republic. I walked out with certified copies and a fire in my gut. I thought that might end it. I was wrong. 2 days later I pulled onto my street and saw a giant moving truck parked in my driveway. Furniture, boxes, even a baby crib being unloaded onto my porch. Linda stood there beaming, waving like we were old friends. Just in time, Jack. Help the boys with the sectional. It's heavy. Derek grinned. Once you're out, we'll put up a nice plaque. Former owner. Thoughtful, right? I kept my voice level, phone already recording. Every box on my grass is trespassing. Every step toward that door is a legal entry. Linda's smile never cracked. You'll find it hard to live here when we control the water and power permits, dear. HOA influence, you know. My blood ran cold. They were already turning the screws. I called the sheriff. Officer Ramirez arrived fast, lights flashing. One look at my video and Linda's crew was ordered off immediately or arrested. She sputtered about rights. Derek turned red, but the truck rolled away empty. Small win. But the next morning my faucets hissed dry. Water shut off. Official notice. Non-payment of mandatory HOA fees. Except I was never in the HOA, until they forged my signature on annexation papers 3 days earlier. I stormed the board meeting at the community center without knocking. The room went dead silent. Linda's mouth actually fell open. I slapped my real deed on the table. This forgery is a felony. Cancel the shutoff order right now or every one of you faces charges. I hit record again. Board members turned on her like rats fleeing a sinking ship. They signed the rescission papers on camera. Linda's hand shook as she added her name. You'll regret this, Jack, she hissed. The only thing I regret, I shot back, is not filming the moment you realized rules actually apply to you too. The water came back on by dinner. But Linda wasn't done. A week later I got served. Lawsuit for emotional distress, harassment, and illegally blocking property transfer. Court date set. She painted herself as the loving mother just trying to secure her son's future. I was the bitter loner who refused community spirit. Her lawyer was slick. But I represented myself. I played every video, the sign, the moving truck, the forged papers, her own words about cutting my utilities. The judge's face went from bored to furious. Mrs. Whitaker, your actions are manipulative and without merit. Case dismissed with prejudice. She offered me a countersuit. I looked at Linda slumped in her chair, Derek staring at the floor and said, No, Your Honor. I just want my life back. Walking out of that courthouse I felt lighter than I had in months, until 3 days later a sleek black Mercedes glided up my driveway. Out stepped Marcus Vale, real estate developer in a suit that costs more than my truck. Mr. Reynolds, sorry, your property is impressive. I'm prepared to offer $700,000 cash. Comfortable retirement. I looked at the big oak tree, the workshop I built with my own hands, the yard Linda had tried to steal. Not for sale. Not at any price. His smile tightened. Everyone has a price. Think about it. The quiet after that felt wrong. Then one midnight my security lights tripped. 2 shadows in dark clothes were pouring something on my workshop. Gasoline smell hit me before I even reached the porch. I grabbed the old baseball bat I keep by the door and yelled. Next step and the whole neighborhood hears about attempted arson. They dropped the can and ran. I got clear video of the license plate and the gas trail. Officer Ramirez was there by dawn. These aren't kids, Jack. This is escalation. Marcus Vale had pulled strings for an eminent domain filing, claiming my lot was needed for community improvement. Translation: luxury townhomes for his investors. The county notice arrived certified mail. I stood in the land management office staring at the same smirking director who'd rubber-stamped Linda's forgery. This is theft, I said quietly. He shrugged. Progress, Mr. Reynolds. That was the moment I stopped playing defense. I spent 2 sleepless nights compiling everything. Videos, forged papers, police reports, the Gaskin photos, newspaper clippings about my wife and me planting that oak tree 40 years ago. Then I called Chloe at the local paper. She listened, eyes widening, and 2 days later the headline screamed across the front page. HOA president and developer caught in forgery and arson plot to steal local homeowners' property. The town exploded. Protesters showed up at the next county meeting waving signs. Save Jack's home. Stop HOA greed. Social media lit up with clips of Linda's smug face. Suddenly the same board that had backed her was backpedaling. Public pressure forced them to drop the eminent domain claim and issue a formal apology. Marcus Vale's company lost contracts overnight. Investors ran. Word on the street was Linda packed up and moved to Florida for health reasons. Derek followed. The future home sign finally came down by sheriff's order. A week later, an unfamiliar sedan pulled up. A young woman stepped out, Olivia, Derek's ex-fiancée. She looked embarrassed. I had no idea what they were doing. My dad, he believes in fairness. She handed me an envelope. Inside, a cashier's check for $850,000 from Thomas Maxwell, her father, owner of the biggest construction firm in the state. No strings. Just a note. For the fight you shouldn't have had to wage. I stared at that check for days. Then I made a decision. I broke ground on the Reynolds Homeowners Defense Center. Right in my own yard. Free workshops teaching people how to read deeds, record evidence, fight absurd fines, and push back against power-tripping HOAs. Veterans, young families, retirees, everyone came. The big oak tree became the gathering spot for classes on how to spot a forged annexation. Laughter replaced the old silence. My workshop now held toolkits labeled, "For the next Linda." One crisp morning, Officer Ramirez stopped by, grinning. Heard Marcus Vale declare bankruptcy. Linda's suing a Florida HOA for stealing her parking spot. Some people never learn. We both laughed until our sides hurt. Standing on the porch that evening, watching families learn to protect what's theirs, I finally understood. The greatest win wasn't keeping my house. It was turning the weapon they tried to use against me into a shield for everyone else. In the end, folks, power-hungry Karens only thrive when we stay quiet. Document everything, speak up loud, and watch their house of cards collapse. Your home is worth the fight. Never let them turn you into the villain they invented. Stand your ground. The neighborhood will thank you.